Hey guys, Sensei Craig coming at you once again from the Samurai Virtual Dojo, and welcome back to another novice training session. In this week's session we're going to take a look at kokutsudachi, which is a backward facing stance, do a little bit of kata revision, some shadow sparring and some other things to help you develop your basic karate skills and continue your martial arts journey. So welcome. Let's get into a warm-up. Awesome. Okay, so for those of you who completed last week's training session, pre-recorded, you'll know that one of the things that I talked about was the flick on the end of our blocks, particularly gedan. Okay, and I wanted to talk to you about how that relates to Pinan Nidan, or how we're going to take that and apply it very basically to our Pinan Nidan kata. So what we're going to do is just complete that gedan from haikodachi a few times, just to revise that flicking action. Okay, so haikodachi and yoi, left hand forward. And blocking gedan, concentrating on the flick at the end, so not too quickly. Head, wind up, and block down. Knee, san. Remember to keep your core tucked. Yon, go, rok, nana, hat, kyu, ju. All right, let's try a faster set. Here we go. X, knee. San, yan, go, rok, nana, hat, kyu, hua. And relax and shake out. Very good. Okay, if you want to practice more of that, please feel free to pause the video. In a moment, I'll be taking you through the relevance of that in Pinan Nidan. Okay. So the relevance of that in Pinan Nidan, I know some of you are probably thinking already, I get it, Sensei, there's lots of gedan in Pinan Nidan. You want us to flick our hand in our kata, so that we're practicing it not only in our kihon, but then we're, escalating, we're taking it to that skill management stage. We're doing it in our kata, and then later on, we'll be able to do that in our kumite, in our self-defense. And that is very true. However, remember that this is not the only form of gedan in Pinan Nidan. And quite often in the Samurai Dojo, when I'm teaching novices, and I first talk about this flick here, and then I relate it back to Pinan Nidan, you can see people working on it, when they, for example, they turn from here, they put their foot through, turn, and they're working on getting that flick. They do that, and of course there's different parts of the kata where we turn, we turn and block and punch, and then all of a sudden we get to the last chapter, the shikodachi. Excuse my back. We get to the last chapter, they turn, and then their hands just do that. Remember that this action, this movement on those last four stances, or in that last chapter of Pinan Nidan, is gedan, except that it is done with a shuto movement. Okay, an open-handed movement. Shuto does not mean open hand, sorry. However, an open hand or a blade edge of the hand movement. It's not done with a closed fist. Not in Shitoryu anyway. Okay, in fact, I don't believe that it's done with a closed fist, well, in any iteration that I've ever seen. It's done with an open hand. So we must make sure that the hand stays up, palm up, and then flicks at the end. All right, so let's practice some of that. Yoi, left hand forward. Now, open the back hand as we would in that last chapter of Pinan Nidan. Ready? Wind up first. Itch, knee. Now block down, keep the hand up, flick at the end. Itch, knee. Itch, knee. ni, ich, ni, ich, ni, ich, ni, ich, ni. Good. Let's do that to one count. Ich, ni. Concentrate on that movement. Sun, don't flick it till the end. Yon, go, rok, nana, hach, kyu, ju. And shake out. Well done. Now, let's look at that in kata context, or in this case, Pinan Nidan, how that works. I'm sure you've got it figured out already, but I'll take you through a quick step-by-step. Awesome. Okay, so shooting over to camera 2 here, let's have a look at that in context of Pinan Nidan. So just prior to the commencement of that last chapter, we have completed the gedan uke, and then there are 3 oizuki, or 3 step-over punches. And at the end, or completion of that 3rd step-over punch, that's where we're going to pick up the action. Okay, so from this position here, remembering that the back foot goes across 45 degrees and we turn into shikodachi, let's have a look at how to prepare the hands. So I'll start facing this way and then show you the other way. So from here, the back foot goes across 45 degrees. Now watch my hikite. I'm going to open it and wind it into the gedan uke wind up position. From there I'm going to turn and block. Now I know that my block kind of disappeared on the camera, but I wanted you to see that wind up. Now I'm going to face this way, and you'll see what that looks like as I turn and block. Excuse the back. However, at least you can see the logo there. Pretty cool, yeah? Alright, so from here, back foot goes across. Now I have wound up, in this case, my left hand. I turn it to shikodachi, and from here now, can you see what we practiced before? And flick at the end. Good. Now I pivot, step, wind up, block down, flick at the end. Now watch this right hand. As I put this foot across, it winds up, palm up. Flick down, turn. We're going to complete that one more time. Step, wind up, keep the palm up, and flick at the end. Following there, remember, Yoi, Zanshin, and then look forward. Okay, so that's what I meant earlier by context. How does this relate, or this flicking of the block at the end, or the uke at the end, relate to Pinan Nidan? Well, it relates. There's a lot of closed hand gedan uke in Pinan Nidan, so I would like you to be practicing that flick on those. But don't forget that the last 4 movements are a shuto gedan uke with shikodachi. So you need to get that flick on those movements as well, yeah? Excellent. All right. So let me do a more smooth, less stop-start demonstration, and show you what you need to be practicing. And then, show you what you need to be practicing. Then I'm going to come back. We're going to come back, and I'm going to give you the reps. Okay. So from this position here, and that flickers at the end. Turn, wind up, flickers at the end. Wind up, flickers at the end. Turn, wind up, flickers at the end. And back to Yoi. Okay, so I would like you to practice that 10 times.
Yeah, the whole chapter. From the oisuki there. Practice that 10 times. Go.
Fantastic. Now that you've practiced that 10 times, I'd like you to practice Pinan Nidan 5 times. More, if you like. Remembering that we're not just practicing Pinan Nidan for memory retention. We're practicing to improve as well. What are we improving in today's practice or this week's practice? That's right, the gedan uke. Every single gedan uke in Pinan Nidan. Okay, so remember we have 2 forms of gedan uke in Pinan Nidan. We have the closed hand version or the ken, the fist version of gedan uke, which we see for most of the kata. However, then we get to that final chapter, that last stage with the shikodachi, and we see the other form of gedan uke. We see the open hand version. However, that flicking must still be apparent. It doesn't, because we're doing a different form of gedan uke, doesn't mean we do the block any differently. So that must still be prevalent. It must still be apparent, and just as apparent as when you're doing the closed fist version. So, pause, complete your Pinan Nidan practice. Now, off you go. Remember, if you struggle to remember the sequence, we do have Pinan Nidan video with a voiceover and a walkthrough available here on Patreon for you to reference. Away you go, I'll see you back here soon. Awesome.